Dear brother, when you gonna call back your mother? Thinks you're sleeping in the gutter. We both know you can do better. And when you gonna write your older brother a letter? Hey man, I miss you, getting my shit together. And for the record, I wrote this note as a reminder. Hermano mio, there's a future you can believe in. Gonna take more than songs of justice and freedom. Yeah. Ooh, yeah. There's a future you can believe in. Gonna take more than songs of justice and freedom. Freedom, yeah. If you're thinking about leaving, hold my hand, overstand. This too can be your kingdom, blessed. And when the rain comes, put your hands in the dirt, Baba. This is where you came from. 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 Systems broken, no fucks given. Wealthy people living on the backs of the broken. Dreams of America. Dreams of America. Need a pipe carrier. Let me smudge you off so the vision can get clearer. Your mother's crying, boy, can you hear her? What I see in you, a young tree bearing fruit. Place to start, oh, don't hide behind your heart. You gotta put down the weight. You gotta get out of your way. You gotta put down the weight. You gotta get out of your way. You can find me on the front lines, covered in the blood and tears of another brother, sister, mother. Revolution be a broadcast on Facebook and Twitter. There's a noise, I can hear it when the megaphone roars. Wipe the tears from this tear gas choice. You have a choice. Stand in front of your fear, baby, time to find your voice. It's a story, a love story you can believe in. Death, birth, your life's worth, it's trending. It's a story, a love story. How vain are we to expect a happy ending? I got my hands up, follow directions, still they shoot us. I'm fucking sick and tired of no justice, no peace. Promise me you'll never pick your body off the streets. We're all taking heat here. Oh, the trust is broken, I don't get these police. Disenfranchised, step into a new life. Baby, if you listen to the wind, there's a war cry. Peace in America. Peace in America. Be decent, America. I'm begging you. What I see in you, a young tree bearing fruit. Place to start, oh, don't hide behind your heart. You gotta put down the weight. You gotta get out of your way. You gotta put down the weight. You gotta get out of your way. All right, boys. put down the weight. You gotta get out of your way.
Thank you, Nako, for allowing us to share that video. Nako is my favorite. For any of you who don't already have him on your radar, check him out and the Medicine Tribe movement. It's musical medicine, it's musical activism. Being at a Nako show reminds me of what it must have been like to be at music festivals during the 60s hippie era, but it's so appropriate to these times, and it's about not just that ideal of peace and love, but the necessity to really each do our part to bring about justice and freedom. Music is a huge part of my spiritual practice and the thing that gives me the energy and inspiration to do what I came here to do. And it's that universal chord, right, that connects all of us. You know, as Stevie Wonder said, music is a world within itself, a language we all understand. And Bob, these songs of freedom, redemption songs. So I want to share another video with you from a husband and wife musical team called Yonina. They're from Israel. You got to check them out too. Their original music and message is so beautiful and life-affirming. This is their sweet cover of one of my favorite songs of hope and freedom.
Sometimes I lay under the moon and thank God I'm breathing. And then I pray, don't take me soon, 'cause I am here for a reason. Sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never let it get me down. So when negativity surrounds, I know someday it will all turn around, because all my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't wanna fight no more. There'll be no more wars, and the children will play. One day, one day, one day, one day, one day, one day, when things all change, treat people the same. Stop with the violence, stop with the hate. One day we'll all be free and proud to be under the same sun. Sing a song of freedom like we One day, one day. Shabbat shalom.
And so just taking this into prayer right now. We recognize source energy, the energy of infinite possibility. We unify with it, understanding and accepting the truth of who we are as infinite expressions of the One, limitless, eternal, and free. Knowing this to be the truth for ourselves, we know it to be the truth for everyone everywhere. And speaking my word from that place of deep connection to love itself, I declare that one day is today. Peace is now. Freedom is the birthright of every human being. And in this world of form where appearances would suggest that there could be no end to injustice and war and oppression, I know otherwise. I know that what we can conceive and believe, we can achieve. I know that what consciousness has made, consciousness can unmake. I know that love is bigger than anything in its way. And as I hold steadfast to the vision of a world that works for everyone, as I keep my heart open, so open that no one can be excluded from my love. The doors of heaven swing open, revealing a world of beauty and truth and harmony and joy. A world where we are each free because we are all free. Where we remember and realize that we are one. I'd like to invite you now to take a moment with me and just breathe into your heart. And imagine that a world where there is true liberty and true justice for all already exists right now. What does it look like? What does it feel like? This world where we are all living and growing as one human family, loving each other, supporting each other, lifting each other up, sharing our individual gifts and talents, remembering who we are. Hijos de la luz, children of light, shining the light of the divine with every step we take upon beloved Gaia. No one excluded, no one left behind. How does it feel to see this world? How does it feel to be in it? Allow these feelings to fill up your heart and pour from your eyes and radiate from your being. Choose to move through your day from that place, remembering no matter what you encounter, that principle is not bound by precedent, that our thoughts are prayers, and our feelings are what give them the juice, the power. Know that you are powerful, you are beautiful, and you are loved. Be free. Namaste.
This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. Oh, this joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. Don't you know that this joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. Oh, I said the world didn't give it, the world can't take it away. Oh, this strength that I have, this strength that I have, this strength that I have. Oh, yeah, now. The world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it to me. This strength that I have. Oh, yeah. The world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it to me. This strength that I have. Oh, yeah. The world didn't give it to me. Oh, I said the world didn't give it. The world can't take it away. Oh, this love that I have. This love that I have. Oh, yeah, now. The world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it to me. This love that I have. Oh, yeah. The world didn't give it to me. Don't you know that this love that I have, yeah, the world didn't give it to me. Singing, the world didn't give it, the world can't take it away. Oh, this pride that I have, this pride that I have, this pride that I have. Oh, yeah, now. The world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it to me. This pride that I have. I said the world didn't give it to me. Don't you know that this pride that I have, yeah, the world didn't give it to me. Oh, I said the world didn't give it, the world can't take it away. All this peace that I have, the world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give me my peace that I have. Oh, yeah, now. The world didn't give it to me. Won't you sing? sing about peace. This peace that I have. Oh yeah, now. The world didn't give it to me. I said the world didn't give it. The world can't take it away. All this joy that I have, this joy that I have. This joy that I have. Oh yeah, now. The world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it to me. This joy that I have. I said the world didn't give it to me. Don't you know that this joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. Oh, I said the world didn't give it. The world can't take it away. The world didn't give it and the world can't take it away. The world didn't give it. The world can't take it away. The world didn't give it and the world can't take it away. The world didn't give it. The world can't take it away. And the world can't take it away. The world didn't give it. The world can't take it away.
Resistance Revival Chorus believes in the words written by the poet Toy Derricott when she wrote, "Joy is an act of resistance." We believe in the words of Mr. Harry Belafonte, who said, "When the movement is strong, the music is strong." We sing to revive the hearts of those who fight for social justice, and we sing together for freedom.
Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. Won't you help me sing these songs of freedom? They're all I've ever had, redemption songs. We've been hearing from prophets like Bob Marley, like all of the great saints and mystics throughout history, that we must emancipate ourselves from mental slavery, from inherited BS and thinking and misunderstandings. And we are the only ones who can do it. One of the core concepts and teachings from Centers for Spiritual Living, written by Ernest Holmes, and my favorite of all of the core principles and beliefs in science of mind, is we believe that the ultimate goal of life to be a complete emancipation from all discord, and that this goal is sure to be attained by all. Emancipation from all discord, and this is sure to be attained by all. And Reverend Celeste Frazier of Centers for Spiritual Living points out a complete emancipation from every discord of every nature is experienced more readily only when emancipation is the consciousness we live from as a result from embodying spirit. When emancipation is the consciousness we live from as a result of understanding and living the truth of who we are as spirit manifest in form. This is our greatest call, is to live this truth. And because we each live this truth, and because collectively we live this truth, emancipation from all discord of every nature is sure to be attained by all. These are not two separate endeavors. We are not endeavoring to create a world that works for everyone over here with some urgent, fear-filled ways of being. And we aren't endeavoring to enlightenment and peace that passes understanding for our own sake only. This work is the same work. This emancipation from discord is an inside job. And when we each make our own liberation through our own consciousness, By emancipating ourselves from mental slavery, we emancipate life itself. My emancipation relies on your emancipation. Not one of us free till we're all free. So if you are not free in your own consciousness, none of us are. So if you are not living in a world that works for you, none of us are. These are not separate endeavors. What I believe to be true about life and about myself and about the world and about how it all works, about God, has everything to do with my experience of freedom and liberation. And what you believe about that, whatever mental game you've got going on in your being, also has everything to do with my liberation. We cannot untangle it because it is all one consciousness. We are truly in this together. My liberation is your liberation, and vice versa. Our liberation is their liberation. We must deeply commit ourselves to emancipating our own minds, our own consciousness, if we say we are about love and action. We are about a world that works for everyone. It's part of the deal. We can't be in the business of building a world that works for everyone if we are not first free. The inherent nature of each of us is forever seeking to express itself in terms of freedom. The inherent nature of each of us is forever seeking freedom. That's what Ernest Holmes, the founder of Science of Mind, said. And I was in this conversation a while back with a young woman in her 20s. I think she might have been 20. And she asked me to come sit with her in a circle of girlfriends, to sort of advise and counsel from a spiritual perspective. And when I said, what do you guys really need? Like, how could I really be of service to you? And she said, we need help decolonizing our minds. Whoa. Yes, was my next thought. Because this 20-year-old woman knew exactly what needed to happen for life itself to be better. For her girlfriends, she was like, we got to decolonize our minds. And I was like, yes, you do. And so do I. And so do you. There's no way to this Shangri-La we all envision for ourselves and for each other. There is no true end to separation, which is the greatest ill we suffer from, until we are willing to get free in our own consciousness, to decolonize our own thinking, our own beliefs, our own misunderstandings. That is the great invitation of living spiritually. Ernest Holmes also went on to say that there is a tendency on the part of all of us to reproduce the accumulated subjective experiences of the human race. I'm going to break that down. We just keep doing what we've always done. And we all do it. There's an easierness about it. There's just an ignorance that keeps us from trying something else or doing something differently. There is a magnetism to repeating what we've always done. And it requires effort on our part to even open ourselves up to a new possibility, to even allow the mind of God to help us fathom a new possibility. Because we can't use the tools we've inherited to build something new. We've got to step outside of, break down the boxes of past precedent. And it's hard. Sometimes we don't even realize the boxes we are functioning within. I think we've all seen, or many of us have seen, that image of the iceberg below the surface. And we think we are onto something, and we've gotten conscious, and we recognize the holy wholeness of the one. And there's like this much of the iceberg peeking out from the surface, and there's this much under the surface that we haven't even begun to adventure to see yet. And so we've got to be willing to go beneath the surface of our conscious mind. We must be willing to go beneath the surface of what we think we know. I was in a meditation retreat with Rev. Angel Kyoto Williams recently, and she said, in relationship to this time on the planet and all the batshit crazy, she said, there are typically two streams of thought at this moment. One, it's all effed. It's all gone to hell in a handbasket, and oh, it's crazy town, and that's all there's that's happening. That's one stream of thought. And then she said, there's the other stream of thought, which is, it's all fine. It's all fine. It's good. I'm just going to keep my eye over here, and it's all fine. So think for a moment who you are in those streams, where you are in those streams. Have you been running around this last year, this last few months, this last couple of weeks, saying, the world's on fire, the sky is falling, it's all screwed? Is that you? Or have you been sitting on your meditation cushion, sitting in your house with your blinders down, going, it's fine. I know the spiritual truth, it is all good. Where do you find yourself? Which stream? And you may have to be willing to go beneath what's on the surface of who you think you are in that. And go a little deeper. And get really honest. Am I a it's all screwed, or am I a it's all fine? Where do I tend to go? Where do I tend to hang out? But the thing that I loved best about her idea around this is the next question she asked. And she said, all right, it's all left or it's all fine. So now what? Whichever camp you sit in, now what? Or as Margaret Wheatley says in her book, so who do you choose to be? All right, let's say it's all left. It's all going to hell in a handbasket. The sky is falling. Yes, that is true. And then, who do you choose to be? Or, it's all fine. I know the spiritual truth. Okay. So who do you choose to be? Now what? Because the reality is, you are still here living a life, living a divinely ordained life as the one itself, expressing itself here on this planet in this very moment, whether you see it as all left or all fine. Who are you going to be in it? And the only way you really get to answer that question is to be willing to undo what must be undone in your own mind. Because if you're running around trying to bang people over the head with all the news about dismantling white supremacy, you are using the very tools that white supremacy gave us. If you are not running around, if you are just calmly sitting on your cushion in lotus position, meditating on peace, you too are also using the same tool that got us to this very moment, repeating the same way of being that has allowed this very moment in history to be. But if you are willing to get totally present with what is actually going on in you, where you are actually connected to the one, which means you are connected to the many, and allow yourself to recognize you get to make a choice. You get to free yourself from any misunderstandings you've been working with that you inherited as a result of these structures and systems that are crumbling. You get to free yourself from any inherited religious or spiritual ideology that you've allowed yourself to keep you in spiritual bypass. You get to free yourself from all of that and get to the one truth you really have access to. The only truth you have access to. The one in your own being. The one who is alive in you right now. And you get to free that aliveness and come alive in this moment. Whether you are freeing yourself from bypass and denial or freeing yourself from raging fear, there is a truth in you that knows how to live, that knows who it wants to be right now, and that has not been taken from us, regardless of circumstances out here. Regardless of whether the sky is falling or whether you are comfy and cozy on your lotus-positioned pillow. This life we have been anointed with is ours to live. And that opportunity remains in this very moment. And we get to decide by peeking underneath the surface of our own minds to see what's really happening in there under the surface, and allow our own aliveness, our own holiness to rise to the surface and live. And I am depending on you. I am depending on you to do that work, to get honest and get free, because your liberation and my liberation are entirely tangled. And I am not free until you're free. We are not free until you're free. The prophets have been singing the songs for a long time. And I found myself recently, as the grief seemed to get heavier on my own heart, I found myself at the piano, really out of the blue, and putting melody to Julianne of Norwich's chant, which I made a chant, that all will be well. And all will be well, and every kind of thing will be well. Because those very words were such salve to my soul as the grief got heavy and heavier. And the exhaustion seemed to want to take over every part of my body. Those words brought me comfort, and they brought me back to what is true in me. All will be well. and all will be well, and every kind of thing will be well. And so this is the chant, the knowing, the song that brings me right back to what is true, above the surface and below the surface, that centers me right back in my own freedom, my own choice to live. And so my invitation to you today, this week, my invitation to you is to find the song, find the words, find the practice that allows you to come back again and again, no matter how heavy the grief, no matter how deep the exhaustion, no matter how great the fear. I want you to find the song, find the words, and sing them to yourselves, chant them to yourselves, say them to yourselves. Get a Spotify playlist if it's 14 songs and you can listen to all of those in a row and it brings you back to what is true. That is your work. I want you to find the thing, the words, the songs, the melody that ground you back into that center of yourself, where the only truth you have access to lives. That is our work. I know that my liberation is your liberation, and our liberation is their liberation, and it is underway. I love y'all so much.
So for me, I was raised knowing I am a child of God, first and foremost. Before I was a Japanese, before I was a girl, I think that was the first value that was instilled in me by this woman pastor of the church that I was raised in, when my mom was the pillar of the church. So I feel responsibility, because I felt like I was so lucky to have this sense of freedom, that I did not allow the social expectation that came with my gender to, and thanks to my father, who was not restricted by that, to experience freedom that I have as a child of God, but it was embedded in that. And if that was true for me, and if it was the truth, it had to be truth for everybody. So my sense of freedom and equality is based on my spiritual experience that I am, as well as everyone who has a breath on this earth, is a child of God. And that is what claims you.